Hi everyone, today in this video I'm gonna develop another mental model that obviously can be helpful for you in order to improve your decision making, since mental models are like representations that we take from the reality, and these obviously are taken from the majority of the films, which so helps you to get holistic way to approach the reality, since you got whole the mental models that applies in whole different fields, and then so you have a higher probability to do best decisions, which I think that as much you're better in that specific skill, you're as well also gonna have a higher probability to get prosperity whatever is the field that you apply these good decisions. So what I expect you already to make it is to help me by subscribing and afterwards seeing other videos to make you a better person. And then so today we're gonna work in a specific mental model that's taken from history, and it is the Elite Overproduction theory. Whole societies collapse from within. And then so what is the main argument that we have to understand about these mental models? Is like they study the society, and in this particular one studies, so why do societies destroy themselves? So probably a good type of question that could be so made to understand this mental model is that if you already have noticed that in times of crises, it's often the elites, not the common people, who bring society down. So if you see like the majority of the crises that exist in the world, they tend to be like, if you want to get like accountability, a lot of the accountability can be put in the elites. It's what so this mental model argues. And why this is something that happens? It comes all a bit with the Pareto principle that says that 20% of the things determines 80% of the outcomes. In that specific case, it's probably 20% of the people that determine so 80% of the outcomes that exist in a world. Even if obviously exists a lot of fight for equality, the reality is that the world is still inequality. So the things that have to be understood is that some small sample of people, they still have much more representation in terms of influence in a way so that they determine the outcomes, that obviously the feedback of the outcome is suffered by whole society, but just one of things that have so a small of the people that have so a preponderant type of weight in determining that type of outcome. And it's not so a coincidence, because a historical pattern that obviously is taken from historical patterns. So we have studied whole the type of societies that have existed, and they have seen that this overproduction of elites, so it's like the over, it's like being too much elites in a society is what so argues that this mental model is one of the most preponderant factors to so create a society to collapse. And then so this idea is called the elite overproduction theory, and it's one of the most overlooked but yet powerful mental models that was taken from history. So the concept was explored by Peter Turchin, a historian and complexity scientist, and then so what it suggests, the societies tend to produce more elites than they can sustain. So too many politicians, too many academics, too many business leaders, too many influencers, and healthy individuals. So we say that if we want to get like to create a society, if we want so to get a proportion of type of people, so some people will be politicians, other ones will be academics, other ones will be business leaders, other ones will be workers, normal workers. Would you say that the society obviously it is not static? We would not have like a centralized power that shows for which place each specific one is going for, and obviously by entropy, since so we in society to get so be someone that has sustainable over time has to exist freedom of choice. And then so what happens that when exists freedom of choice, the people are going to look for the more type of utility that so they can apply it. And what is so the things that are more utility, the things that probably gives less work and we got more praise, probably politicians, probably the academics, a lot of times. So people that nowadays, what you see, what is the tendency, wanting to work in a closed environment, so with air conditioner, and not just so working in building houses as an electrical engineer or doing more type of manual works. Now people once worked in just like the so close in room with air conditioner open and all this stuff. So all people and these normal people always want to to get the best conditions as possible. But what is the idea? It's obviously for individual elements. It's smart to act like that. But what you have to understand, or what so the history here goes, is that for the societal it's not good for, it's not good. So this constant look for that are more utility is so looking for things then obviously if they kind of get are valuable what they can create, they create competition. People that are normally in that type of specific roles, they can have what power, and they fight for that power, they fight for influence, and these are the ones as well that tends to manage more resources. And then so we have as well again competition of resources. So we tend to say that by existing too much elites, so the elites are the ones that have the more power, more type of ability to handle with power. So mainly politicians, they influence where so the resources are going to be allocated or not. And when they exist too much, they're overrepresented in a society. So we tend to have a higher probability to create these specific fights, and are fights so that create mainly the crisis. And then so when there aren't enough high status positions available, frustrated elites turn against the system, and that's one specific component. So exists limited type of chairs for everyone, and then so when start existing too much elites, they're gonna so someone's gonna get off the system, so they're not gonna be selected. And obviously so what this creates a revolution, and creates like probably a seed for revolution starting. And then so the frustrated elites that they're not selected for these positions, they turn against the system, that obviously leading to social upheaval. And then so case signs of elite overproduction or overproduction so of the elites, explosion of university degrees today. But sometimes what happens, exists an explosion of university degrees, but exists enough elite jobs for everyone? Probably not. Growing health inequalities, so a small elite controlling massive resources. Well, we tend to see it a lot today as well. Increasing polarization, that's as well is another type of thing that is happening a lot. So elites fighting each other for influence. Social unrest, discontented elites mobilizing movements and revolutions. That one we tend to emphasize as well at Persian. So what are you seeing? These specific components that we see a lot in our society today. Which so is the meaning that what? That we are present, we're in a size that we have elite overproduction. So, but then so we have understood. Right now we see that it applies. It's a reality. It's a thing that happened in the past. The fall of Rome. In its later years, Rome produced too many senators, generals, and healthy elites, all fighting for control. Internal power struggles, corruption, and civil wars weakened Rome from within, making it easier so prey for extreme enemies, and then so the fall of the society. The French Revolution, French had the explosive explosion of educated elites, lawyers, philosophers, bureaucrats who couldn't fight positions of power. Many of these frustrated elites became revolutionaries, leading to chaos, violence, and overthrow of the monarchy. The USA today, more people than ever are pursuing elite careers, but the number of top positions is limited. High competition among elites in politics, business, and media creates division. Social movements fueled by discontented elites may signal so the early stage of internal fragmentation. Why it does so to lead to collapse? Everyone's understood so societies remain stable when elites are in harmony and power is shared. When elites numbers grow too fast, the competition turns into conflict. These conflicts so obviously paralyze institutions, does start not existing so competition, not so exist partnerships as well, and obviously so weaken governments that are made for the reunion from society. And then so this happens so people to get prone to praise, and probably is what explains a region for why USA now is that was so top one in terms of power, influence, production, still remains in a lot of key point indicators today in that specific criteria that people who like to analyze the country, but over time of countries have growth in much higher rate in comparison with the United States in the last stages, in the last so periods, like China, for example, and then so probably can be a thing that USA has to look for. So in 2010, Peter Turchin predicted rising instability around 20,000 in 2030 due to elite overproduction. Well, not in the moment that society is about to collapse, but we're seeing a lot of attraction. Well, a lot, really, really a lot. And then so he pointed out that the widening wealth gap, the political divisions, and rising social unrest as alarming signs. So probably we're passing for that. And then so how the societies can prevent this? Reduce wealth inequality is what these people that have created mental models seems to argue. So ensuring fair resource distribution, limit elite expansion. Not everyone can or should be part of the ruling class. Strengthen institutions so elite conflicts don't spiral in chaos, and encourage productive elites, those who innovate instead of disrupt. So, but history so suggests that most societies don't fix the problem until it's too late. So the reality is that what do you have to take? Elite overproduction, trigger revolutions. Triggers and then so revolutions weaken the weaken country, vulnerable to praise attack, vulnerable country, the country falls. Is what seems to be a tendency. Is what we're going to see and something that's going to happen. We don't know it, but the signals have been present, have been shown in other type of imperiums, nations, what so have happened in the past. So let's see what's the future has so to as waiting so for us. So I expect this video will help you to kind of get some insight for you, and I expect so as well to help me by subscribing and afterwards seeing other videos in this channel. So see you in the next one.